What's it like to work with Steven Bartlett?
Although Steven hasn't worked in recruitment, like officially as in an agency, but he spends so much time recruiting.
Yeah.
You know, he's quoted like 30 to 40 hours a week.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of Recruiting Alchemy. Today, something a bit different. So for the first time ever, we've got someone on the show who is not in agency staffing. Well, not in the true sense. But you were.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to finding out. Today's guest is Simon Ryan, director at Chapter 2 and co-founder of Chapter 2 Health Talent, the business that you will probably know as being founded by Leo Harrison and then invested in by the ubiquitous Steven Bartlett. So I'm extremely excited to welcome Simon to the show. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you. And you bought cupcakes.
I did.
Mate,
I had to.
First ever gift.
Really?
Can you believe that? This is episode 16, 15, 16. A lot to talk about. And I'm really excited to hear about it. But what I think our guests will be, our listeners will be interested in is the Chapter 2 story, because it's been a real rocket ship. But before we get onto that, we always start the same episode every episode in the same way, and that's with the two beginnings. Yep. The first beginning is about you, the genesis story of Simon Ryan. Where did it all begin? And the second is about, I guess, how you found your way to where you are today.
Yep.
We'll come on to that, but to get us started, where does the story begin?
No, great question. And thanks for having me, by the way.
You're so welcome.
Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, it's interesting to talk about myself because I'm actually an identical twin brother.
Really?
So yeah, identical.
How identical?
Yeah, like scientifically identical, same egg, split into two.
And would I think you look the same?
If you saw us separately, you would go up to Adam and say, "Oh, Simon, how are you?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's mad.
So yeah, born an identical twin. So grew up in Stratford in East London in Newham.
Right.
Growing up, when someone would ask me where am I from and I said Stratford, they would say, "Oh, Stratford upon Avon," because it was really dangerous. Area was really low prosperity, meaning high unemployment, high crime rate, highly populated, low education, and growing up in that area really made me streetwise and a good negotiator. Right. My brother and I, we were really good at drawing at school, primary school and secondary school, and we'd draw and we would sell the drawings. So that was the start of my entrepreneurial background. Went to a really strict Catholic school in Forest Gate called St. Bonaventure's, which really made me consistent in terms of like having a structure, working hard and pushing things forward. So actually after education, my brother and I actually went down the same path. So we did our A-levels, did an art foundation, and we both done a graphic design degree, which doesn't correspond with getting into recruitment at all.
Right.
So after our degrees in graphic design, I got my first job at a college in Walthamstow as a marketing coordinator. And I remember actually going for an interview for that job, and it was literally 10, 11 people in a waiting room waiting to go for an interview for this job. And I was clearly the youngest. I was a graduate. And I thought, I've got nothing to lose. So I went for the job. I secured it. And after about 5 or 6 months, I just didn't love it. And I really wanted to get out and liaise or meet clients or people. And at the time, I thought, what could I do? And randomly, I just applied for Camp America to be a soccer coach in New York. At the time, working at that college, we actually brought in Reed to get temps. And there was a lady called Helen Fontaine. She was an area manager at Reed, and she'd been there for 25 years. And I just thought she was exceptional. She had like a golden tongue, not necessarily salesy, but just had a great way about her. She's really consultative, to the point that I wrote to Reed and said how great she was. And she heard that I was leaving to go to Camp America. And what the college did, they actually organised a student versus workers and teachers football match on site. And the time of the game, every time I touched the ball, someone was screaming my name, and it was Helen from Reed. And at half time, she brought over oranges and said to me, "Look, I know you're going to America, but I think you'd be amazing at recruitment." And I said, "No, I'm not interested. Don't want to do sales. I don't even know what recruitment is." So we exchanged numbers, but that was it. I went to America for 6 months, and at the time that I needed to come back, I looked at my bank account. I had no money.
Right.
So I literally called Helen and I said, "Is that job offer still available?" And she said, "You can start on Monday."
And that was the beginning of your recruitment journey.
Yes.
Go on, Helen.
Yeah, and at the time she was at Reed for 25 years. She's still at Reed now after 43 years.
How mad is that? People who work at Reed stay forever.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And
43 years.
Yeah, she's still there. And if anything happens in my career, I still call her and message her to thank her for the opportunity, because I don't know what would have happened if she didn't see it in me.
Does Adam work in recruitment?
He actually doesn't.
He does. No.
He's
so
letting us down.
disappointed.
Great question. He's actually a director of a design awards company.
Okay, so he stayed in that creative lane.
Yes.
It sounds like you are very similar, though.
We are similar. I would say he's even more outgoing than what I am. I mean, but you need to be outgoing to be in recruitment, but he is on a different level.
Another level.
Yeah. Because for me, being in recruitment or talent, I just think I'm a very good listener, because that's so key for clients.
Amazing. Camp America, I've always fancied it. It's supposed to be incredible.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm still friends with people that I met.
But you went you was in New York.
I was in New York, upstate New York, in the middle of nowhere called Woodgate.
A friend of mine, he went to Maine.
Oh, okay.
Up in New England, and never left.
Yeah.
Met a girl and stayed there forever. So
Okay,
that's incredible. And then so the beginning of your recruitment journey at Reed. Tell us about the early years in recruitment.
Yeah.
And when are we talking about here?
So 2007.
2000, just before the crash.
Just exactly. So I remember.
What a terrible time to start.
Yeah. But I didn't know any different.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
maybe the best time to start.
Yeah. I didn't have like a hangover of previous, difficult markets. And I started in April, and I remember that month Helen said to me, "Oh, your target for month 1 is 7K."
Right.
And I didn't even know what an administrator was. I didn't know what type of roles I was recruiting.
Yeah.
And it was for Reed specialists, so quite generalistic.
Yeah.
And I was the only guy in the office. I was the youngest, and I was working with individuals that had been with the business for 10, 15, 25 years, which was great because I could learn from them. And the first 6 months were really challenging, and finding my feet. And that it took me 6 months to hit my threshold first time. So I earned commission, but I'd worked out the process. I'd worked out how I could go about hitting that target, and it was all perms. At Reed at the time, you could only do temp or perm. So if you picked up a temp job, you passed it over and didn't get anything for it.
Yeah.
And for me, I was consistently on the phone to clients and winning a lot of business.
Right.
I remember the branch had listed 10 companies that they've been trying to work with for 10 years.
Right.
And they said, look, these are no chance. And I actually won all of them over the 3-year period I was with them.
Wow.
So I was with that branch for 3.5 years, and I just loved it. Every time I made a placement, Helen would scream, or, if I called her, I knew that she'd be delighted. My second year, 2018, that's really when... 2008, sorry. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead there. Was the financial crisis, the credit crunch.
Right.
And because I performed so well in 2008, I was actually the top perms consultant in the whole of the region.
Right.
And what Helen would do, she would send me trainees or new consultants for me to train them on the systems that I had created.
Got it.
And I remember sitting with one person and saying to them, look, you probably should look at welfare to work. Reading Partnerships, CTEC, Sensia, these companies are helping unemployed to get back into work, because it jumped from 1.5 million unemployment to 2.6 in 2008 to 2009.
Right.
And as I was giving that person advice about that sector, I thought, look, candidates high in demand, people in recruitment, these companies are recruiting 40 to 50 recruiters. That's a great way to sustain your business. And that really picked up for me. And even speaking to clients, one client said to me, and this really rang home, was their department was making mass redundancies, but the department next to them, they were popping champagne because they had their best ever. So I had a really open mindset to not just let that bog me down and be totally optimistic. So after 2008, I won all the awards, like top perm consultant, top interview introducer. And after 3.5 years, where all of the business that I was winning was outbound. Nothing was ever called in.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, nothing at all. A business manager role come up for Chancery Lane, a maternity contract. And I thought it'd be great if I did that, or went for that opportunity, learned about management. I was already on the Management Academy, which is a great training course by Reed. And yeah, I went to Chancery Lane. I remember in my first week, there was business being called in.
Right. You're like,
I couldn't believe it. So filling it was the straightforward, easy part.
Yeah.
And that branch took me in. I mean, again, there was a lady called Debbie Kellen. She's known as Debbie Kingsland now. She'd been with the business 30 years.
Right.
And I remember staff saying to me, "Oh, you're going to manage Debbie." And I said, well, look, let me meet with her and understand what makes her tick, what motivates her. Can I learn from her? Yes, I'm going as business manager, but that doesn't really mean anything. It's about working with the team that you adopt and how you refine it. And we had great fun. We literally doubled our figures in 9 months because I was hardcore sales and there was business coming in as well as going out.
Got it.
And after 9 months, I got offered another opportunity to be business manager of Victoria and Westminster, a very different location. And by the way, I was like the youngest ever business manager in the history of Reed at 25, actually managing a branch.
Yeah.
And I have to, again, give that credit to Helen Fontaine and Kathy Dias, who were the directors that gave me the opportunity.
Got it.
And I just did everything to prove that I would succeed. And again, with Westminster, my aim was to make that the number one branch in the UK out of 400.
Right.
And we consistently hit that in the 3 years that I was there. Because again, how I performed, Reed said, okay, can you look after these branches? So I took over like Baker Street, and Chancery Lane again. And after 7 years, you said, people at Reed are institutionalized because they've got great training, they look after you. But some challenges I come up was, my clients are working with specialist agencies. And my friend Ali Salim was working at a company called Your World Healthcare, where, he'd worked for quite a lot of recruitment companies. And he said, look, Your World is really interesting business. We're looking to expand different divisions. And would you speak to the owner? And he introduced me to Your World Healthcare Recruitment.
Right.
And we agreed that I would go over there after 7 years at Reed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big decision?
Great. Yeah, big decision. But I was at the point
You were ready?
Yeah, I was ready. It was a step up, area manager to divisional manager.
Yeah.
And I was feeling the pain of staying the same versus the pain of changing. So I had to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of research around sectors, and health care was like a really solid area, especially if like macroeconomic things changed.
Yeah.
Because that's always in demand because of your health is for life, isn't it? So
I've never worked in a generalist recruiter like Reed. So you said there that you're managing a branch.
Yeah.
And you talked about Chancery Lane and Baker Street.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, as the crow flies, they're less than a mile away from each other.
3 miles.
And how does that work? Are you sort of like my patches, draw a radius around? Is it like we'll do anything within 500, a mile radius? Is that how it works?
It was 3 miles.
3 miles.
However, it was kind of segmented. Yeah. And it was any sector, but
any sector, any job.
Yeah.
Just get your hands on vacancies.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you picked up, I don't know, something like an IT director, we had a technology division, Reed had 30 divisions.
Right.
So again, what made me a little bit frustrated at times, I'd win all this business, pass it over to other branches, and then my clients would be calling me saying, can you fill this job? Because we're not getting the response. Or
Got it.
And that was what led me to Your World Healthcare, because again, speaking with the founder, Tony Moss, they were doing clinical recruitment that covered doctors, nurses and allied health professionals. And there was a massive gap for corporate functions like IT, finance, all in the health sector, and even perm recruitment. They weren't doing any perm recruitment.
Right.
So we agreed that I would go over, set up non-clinical, perm and international recruitment.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then how long were you there for?
11 years.
11 years.
Similar to you, because you were at S3.
That's right. For, back to 11 and a half years.
Yeah, same. So
you've only really worked for 3 companies then?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So 11 years, a long time to work in one place. Yeah. So, there's a lot to unpack, I'm sure, but how would you describe your journey with Your World?
Yeah. I was hire number 75, and by the time I left, we had over 500 staff.
Wow.
So to see that change from where I begun to where I ended was like exceptional, and we achieved so much. I mean, Your World were in a really good place. When I joined, they were turning over margin of around 14 million, and then by the time I left, they were turning over margin of 45 million.
Wow.
So yeah, incredible. Learned so much. Really doubled down on the specialism. Built teams from scratch, and bearing in mind I hadn't worked in healthcare before. So I really had to understand the nuances, the challenges, frameworks, how all of that worked. And year one, a team I built in non-clinical was just under $1 million margin in year one. And that was within 9 months.
Got it.
From scratch.
And did Chapter 2 find you, or did you find them?
Again, I have to give credit to Ali, who I mentioned earlier, who introduced me to Your World. He actually started at Chapter 2 about 1.5 years ago. And at the time, after 11 years, there wasn't anything I hadn't experienced at Your World. And I was thinking, what should I do next? What options are there? And I was actually thinking about going out and doing my own business. And Ali had mentioned my thoughts to Leo Harrison. And Leo, I don't think he should have even been in this situation, but he offered to give me some advice. So Ali had arranged that. When I met with Leo, I thought, how can I add value to someone that's so busy? And how can I get him to remember me? So I actually created job leads for talent partners with businesses that were linked to me. So there was one company, and this sounds crazy. When you get married, the first year is like year of the paper. The second year was year of the wall. And it was just my wedding anniversary, and it come up in conversation with Leo. And I said, actually, I've got a job lead for you for a talent partner for a wall company that are recruiting 100 staff, and here it is. So, I went into that conversation with, he's going to give me advice, but how can I help him? And, it's about clients at the end of the day. So during that conversation with Leo, he said, do you have a business plan? And I did. Do you have a forecast? I did. And we went through it. And he said, this is really interesting. We always want to reinvest our revenue into expanding. And he said, would you come into the business and help us with projects, grow different revenue streams, and maybe look at health if that is a possibility down the road? And we had further meetings from there.
Wow. So I guess it allows you to scratch the entrepreneurial itch, but be part of a bigger machine, That's cool.
It's really cool, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I think if I did go out on my own, after a couple of years, I probably would have approached someone like Chapter 2 to take it to the next level with their branding or just their PR machine and just how they work.
Got it. Amazing. We'll come on to Chapter 2 in just a moment. So 18 years across 2 businesses. A huge business in Reed, a slightly smaller but growing business, and then moved on. What would you say, if you were advising your 23-year-old self now, I'm sure the answer is I wouldn't do anything differently, of course. But what do you look back on to that quite significant chunk of time, and what stands out to you in terms of lessons learned?
It's great question. Whenever I trained anyone new during my 18 years, I always said, I'm going to save you 6 to 9 months with the stuff that I'm going to go through with you. So I would have loved more people like that to approach me, but I was on my journey and I really doubled down on the business development and client development. I think it's easy to become very busy with what's in front of you, delivering on the projects that you've won. I think if I was going to be even more hardcore, it would have been, really building up relationships with more than just my key contact at one business. So multiple, if they've got various different departments, maybe the CEO, maybe the founder, rather than just the HR team or individual recruiters. Because if one of them move on, great, you can work with them in the future, but where does that leave you with the rest of the business? Also, I think like personal brand is huge now. And I think, 18 years ago, it wasn't even a thing, LinkedIn. So,
I think it probably did exist.
It did.
2007, I think.
I was of the opinion that if I post anything about clients, my competitors will see them and contact them, because that would have been something I would do. So I had great relationships, so maybe I should have been a bit more brave to be more open about that, but I was just making it happen.
Amazing. So The question on everyone's lips is, what's it like to work with Steven Bartlett? He's obviously an incredibly well-known personality. But obviously he's an investor, and Leo Harrison is the founder, former Oliver Agency executive, incredibly successful business there. What was it about, apart from Ali, apart from Ali, who just can't stop recruiting?
He's the best recruiter I've ever met for me.
Can't stop, won't stop. So outside of Ali, who just recruits everyone everywhere. What was it about? Was it the energy? Was it the people? Was it the vision, the values? What was it specifically that made you want to hitch your wagon to theirs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was exceptionally impressed by Chapter 2 as a business in general, with what I've done my research online. All of their posts, all of their videos were super cutting edge, unique, modern. And the word disruptive's been used, but I think actually disruptive probably doesn't give Chapter 2 all of the credit, because they are exceptional at adding value for clients. And I think with Steven's involvement, that is like an added incentive, because although Steven hasn't worked in recruitment like officially as in an agency, but he spends so much time recruiting. He's quoted like 30 to 40 hours a week. And I've learned so much from him in terms of how he interviews, what he asks, what their processes are. And I think a lot of companies and Chapter 2 have learned from him, but also vice versa, where you're pushing the boundaries of consulting with clients rather than just transactional relationships or placements.
Got it. So tell us about, Chapter 2 Health Talent, a division of Chapter 2, obviously. Who would be, who, if somebody's listening to this now and they want to use your service, who might that person, who's your ICP? Who might that person be?
Yeah, great question. So again, just like as a distinctive element, we've called it Chapter 2 Health Talent rather than healthcare, because healthcare is really associated when someone is not well and going into hospitals. We're not concentrating on NHS because they're on frameworks, and I think there's a lot of interesting businesses that are private that range from medtech, health education, health AI, quite a wide range. There's 15 verticals we're looking at, and our ideal customer would be a client that is looking to scale quickly. So it could be a startup to Series D, may need to be recruiting 50 roles, and they need to supercharge their recruitment in order to maybe hit a funding situation with a VC, or just looking to scale really quickly to go to market.
Got it.
And I can give you an example, actually. My first day at Chapter 2, Brad Rose, one of our managing partners, won a contract with a client in Germany that needed to expand and actually put the boots in the ground in the US, in Boston. They had a target to hit 150 hires in 6 months, and they had nothing, not even an ATS. So Brad and Leo were like, this is great for you because we've got a health specialist. And that meant mobilizing a team from the UK, Germany, South Africa, and America in order to hit these hiring targets. And after 6 months, we actually achieved 175 hires, which was, we did everything, from building the KPI, the WIP report, the tech stack, the employer branding. And we did such a great job. We built their new talent acquisition team and scaled down. So for me, our ICP is definitely clients that are scaling quickly. We've already proven in the first 6 months of my 9 months with Chapter 2, an incredible achievement. So that client was looking at using a recruitment partner, 20%, average fee would have been 13.5, and we achieved cost per hire about 2.5K, which is insane. And out of the 175 hires, 120 of them were clinical staff, which in America, there's a shortage of a million staff members. And that was just through my experience, the team's efforts, which were above and beyond. And I don't think we would have achieved those numbers if we weren't embedded, because we completely understood the founders' culture, that business, and the targets. And, I was involved in the meetings, like team meetings, like 3 times a week. And there were a lot of moving parts to make sure we hit those numbers.
you don't have to answer this question.
Yeah.
So feel free to say it. So, but from a business, you mentioned 2.5K cost per hire, right? That's just mad, like incredibly efficient. How do you price to the customer? Is it on a outcome? Is it on a cost per hire basis, or do you sort of say it's a fixed fee for our service, irrespective of how many people we hire?
Yeah, great.
Because I guess I'll just caveat that with, I think an awful lot of people in the staffing sector today are trying to modernize their commercial model.
Yeah.
How do we? Because the truth is, recruitment's too expensive, right? And it's deeply inefficient, right? And the reason you're paying 15, 20 grand a hire is because the guy that you're working with fills 1 in 4 jobs, right? So he's got you're essentially paying for the other 3 jobs he doesn't fill.
Yeah.
So lots of my listeners are interested in how do we modernize or evolve their commercial model.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking you to give away any trade secrets, but I'd love to understand your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, great question. And that was something I was trying to understand before I even started at Chapter 2. So Chapter 2 has a 3-pillar model. One is embedded talent, which isn't new. It's a very competitive space. But coupled with our second pillar is the tech stack. So we are testing any new tech, especially AI, which we could allow our talent partners to achieve what they need to. Mm-hmm. So again, that's not different. However, what Leo's done is he's mobilized great agreements with organizations where we can get enterprise deals and then move that within the embedded talent partner at no extra price to the client.
Got it.
But the third thing, which is the great value proposition, is the employer branding. So before we launched Chapter 2 Health Talent, we definitely did our competitive analysis, and there are embedded health organizations, but they don't do it in one health solution, that is talent, technology, and employer branding.
Yeah.
So what we would do, we price up with a client for a talent partner on a monthly subscription, and that includes the talent partner, the tech, and the employer branding.
Right.
So if the client that we hired 175 staff, whether we hired one or we hired 175, the price would have still been the same.
Yeah.
However, there are SLAs and agreements with the client.
Milestones and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
it's month 5, you've hired nobody.
Yeah,
but, exactly.
But some clients after month 5, we might not have hired people, and that's because there's one client, I won't say the name, but the ratio is something like 100 interviews to 1 hire.
Wow.
Which is a different complete business to the volume recruitment. So every client is really different, and we go in, we analyze their data, we do deep research, and then we say, actually, embedded option would be best, or we actually think you need employer branding, or actually you need consulting, transformation advisory.
But you don't do transactional staffing at all?
We do actually do.
You do?
Which there's some clients that say they don't really understand the embedded model.
Yeah.
So we might say, okay, we will work with you because we want to on a contingent or retained basis.
Yeah.
But once you start spending more, which we would have charged you for embedded, we might flip it.
Yeah. And I think that's right. I think for a lot of people, they just don't know that there is another way to do things. They're so used to paying for the outcome that they don't understand that there is another way. And I think it's they have to sort of experience it first to go, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
So when you go into an organization, do you present to the world as part of that organization on email and things like that? Is that how it's done?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Total embedded.
Right.
They've got the client's emails, they've got ours, but all communications from there. Anything they generate on LinkedIn or their ATS, it's the client owns it.
Got it.
They've generated that work, so it's credited to them.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about the internal dynamic at Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Are you able to draw resource from different parts of the business, or are you just is it a self-contained little gang?
Yeah, great. So our senior leadership team have all got accountability for their own P&Ls.
Right.
The great thing is when Third Space come up as a client, I can tap into 150 talent partners that Chapter 2 already have.
Right.
But then it's about defining which talent partner is suitable, but also available for that client's needs. So I think if I was doing it separate, I'd have to go out to market, pull in my network, which is still something I do. But we had proven people that have worked for Chapter 2, which we can put on other clients, and we know their ability and what they're going to perform. And in the 9 months that I've been at Chapter 2, I've probably interviewed 100 talent partners and only put through 10.
Right.
And I think the market, for what our clients expect and what we're going to deliver, yes, it is delivering the vacancies, but how can we go in and add value, change the way that clients are working if they want us to, and be that really top tier advisory service?
Yeah. Like who would the sort of person that would work for you be? Would it be somebody who's working in an agency, who's maybe coming to the end of that journey and wants to do something different? Is it? Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So all of our talent partners at the moment, they are all really experienced, been in agency, but also have done embedded.
Yeah.
And
so you look for people who've done it before?
Yes.
Yeah.
And become highly recommended.
Yeah.
So that for us, we know, because again, there's a lot of questions around RPO or embedded from clients, let alone new team members. And it just makes sense that we can supercharge with our clients if someone has done that before, naturally.
And if I'm working for ABC Pharma, right, whoever it might be, and I'm sort of, am I on client site? Do I go in is it fully remote? Is it a bit of both?
It depends on the client's needs. So we work with some clients that are 100% remote, and then some clients 5 days a week.
Who's my line manager? Is it them or is it you?
Both. Yeah, I don't want to go in and disrupt. Yeah. As in, we work out like a cadence weekly meeting. Yeah. But again, it's through constant communication with the client. And if they don't want that, we won't. Yeah. But if they ever want to come back to us and say, well, where are we at? What's our performance like? I like to be involved in those meetings because I'm not that escalation person. Yeah. And we can drive the meeting by looking through what we've achieved so far in our stats and analytics. So I'm not on site every day, but I am that touch point, and I'm leaving our talent partners who are very capable to deliver and work directly with those line managers. Yeah.
I guess my thought process was, does it make building your own culture harder when people are sort of being dragged into, you're sort of living two sets of values, two sets of corporate identities, two sense of like belonging, really, in a way. Yeah. And does that dilute? Maybe it's because you're a twin. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're in a bit, but does it dilute? I'm sure the answer is no. But how do you have to work at that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a monthly all hands, say, as an example, in London. So everyone that are working for our clients, they come to that meeting. Yeah. We do a lot of culture building, so constant events, constant communication. And Leo's phrase is, no one should go native, because you've built that like that relationship up with the talent partner, and you've made them involved with our culture. Yeah. I would say there's been some interesting conversations when there is talent partners moving on to different accounts, and you want the talent partner to be completely on side and up for any client we put them on, because that's our service, rather than them saying, actually, no, I don't want to do that. And that hasn't come up so far. But conversations when we're interviewing potential talent partners, you can see that in the culture answers that they may struggle with working for Chapter 2, but on site for another client. It's natural, but it's something we work really hard on. Yeah.
If I think about the business model, right, and you've got 150 people, right? It's just a different story. But if I'm starting out on this journey as the risk to me is, and I might be wrong, right? But my understanding of embedded is, and I've never done it, so correct me if I'm wrong, but is that it's kind of that. The great thing is you can sort of turn the volume up and down as your workforce demand requires. Yep. So some people they'd have a talent team, and you're the kind of extension of that can be scaled up and down. Yep. Others they don't have a talent team at all. Yep. How if I'm thinking about, I want to start an embedded business, I want to do more embedded work, how do I deal with that fiscal risk that says, I've won a big project for a 6-month period, I've had to go and hire 6 talent partners to deliver it, but then I've hit my target after 4 months because I've exceeded target, and now I've got these permanent employees and nothing to do with them. Yeah. How do you deal with that kind of bench? And that, I would imagine, provides a bit of moat, which is great, because moat's good for most businesses. But is that something that you think about? Sort
Yeah.
of utilization, deployment?
Yeah, mobilization.
Mobilization.
Yeah. So again, Leo is super detailed when it comes to this. And as a senior leadership team, we meet once a week. So we're constantly talking about a talent partner when they might be finishing with a client or if their contract's coming to an end. So everyone is responsible in building new business.
Yeah.
So at this moment in time, we are in a really good spot and we're driving and we've got more and more clients consistently coming through.
Yeah.
And that is through our events, our business development, our outbound. We're just not waiting for everyone to come to us. So I think the key thing is following the money. And the main way is to keep on developing business and relationships.
Yeah.
And that's not only directly with clients, it's with VCs, it's with people that can refer you. It's through our partners and our advisory team. There's so many ways that we can exhaust that, but the number one key is the client.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree it's a challenge, but that is our number one.
And the reason I say that is my background is mainly in tech.
Yeah.
And obviously we've just been through the most prolonged downturn probably since Y2K.
Yeah.
Arguably more so than 2008 global financial crisis. And obviously there was some high profile casualties in the embedded world. Big businesses some went belly up, others are significantly smaller. And the story that I heard is that it's a sort of cycle of boom and bust, which is it's all great when the market's good, but then the minute the market turns, we've got so much cost that we're having to shed that all the time.
Yeah.
And that can be quite stressful for the people doing that job. And I'm not suggesting that's true of your business, but that's a broad brush assessment. The last 2 years have been hard. Do you think your model's helped you, or I'm sure the answer is yes, but has it helped you through those times, or what have you found in the last 2 years when the market really has been tested?
Yeah. So if I step back from 2 years when I was at Your World Healthcare, the health sector was still highly demanded.
Yeah.
I would say within the last 12 months, that's definitely been hit for the NHS, meaning less agencies use.
Yeah.
And that's why I pivoted. But I would say in the 9 months that I've been at Chapter 2, it's only been upward trajectory. And I think that is because we are shining a light on what we're doing and how we're doing it in a great way and in a different way.
Yeah.
So the fact that when I meet with a talent partner or a business, then they know of Chapter 2, that's like exceptional. So how can we replicate that for clients?
Yeah.
But in terms of the market, it is literally following the market demands. All of the clients that we work with is due to an increase higher demand. So that for me is a good sign. Working with the clients that I am at the moment, again, I can see that the demands for the next 6 months. And it is, again, doubling down every day in terms of if we're doing a great job, can they refer us?
Yeah.
Can we be recommended? It is land and expanding every day.
Focused on that all the time.
Absolutely. How we track this information, we've got HubSpot, we're working on deals, we're listing how many meetings we're having, what the outcomes are.
Yeah.
Again, we have a senior leadership team meeting that we go through the P&L every week. We go through mobilization every week. It's relentless.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. There was one client that one of our talent partners was working for. He did 6 months and that come to an end because there was a drop in vacancies.
Yeah.
We were lucky to mobilize them on another contract. And then after a month of him being on that contract, his previous client said, can we have him back?
Right.
So that's the difficult part, because we do say we can scale up and scale down. However, we can only give our clients the talent partners if they're available.
Yeah.
So with the 6 to 8 talent partners that we had in for the US project, we were lucky that we mobilized 6 of them. 2 of them were on contracts. So a month before the contract was coming to an end, I was completely transparent with them, and they did get jobs elsewhere. And the level of the talent partner, as an example, one of them actually went to Apple.
Right.
Like really high level. So there is going to be like an attrition, and there has been. At this stage, it has been quite smooth.
Yeah.
But it's just about how you approach that situation, and we're constantly working ahead. So we're going to know when that contract is coming to an end after 6 months. But I would say the 3-month contracts, after 2.5 months, that's when it really kicks in. So we would always prefer 6-month contracts.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's not all I know is that it's a part of the market that everybody wants to be in. And I think it's clear why. If you can deliver that level of growth with a 2.5K average, cost per hire, it's like, it's no brainer, right? Because everyone wins, you win and the client wins. Because I know that certainly for a lot of people, they look at their recruitment bill and go, it's too high. And their natural answer is, let's get a load of people and hire them. But the downside of that is exactly as I pointed out, demand is rarely linear, right? It's rarely like, oh, I need to hire 2 people every year for, all year. And then, so that's why I think that the embedded solution is a great halfway middle ground, because they can lean on your experience, but not necessarily have the long-term obligation that hiring your own team requires.
Absolutely. And it doesn't go on the client's headcount.
Exactly. What does the future look like for Chapter 2 Health Talent? What do you see? I'm sure you have a vision. Do you, tell me about that.
No, great. No, thank you. So delivered exceptionally well with a project in America where we made the 175 hires. In the background, we've been working with other clients on an embedded basis. We've worked with some clients on a retainer, perm recruitment, temporary recruitment. So for me, I had like a simple target, which was separate from the big embedded project, another 150 to 200K. We've already achieved 150. So I want to finish out the rest of the year strong. And then for year 2, I want to double that in revenue. So I'm actually hiring at the moment for new team
So if you're
members.
listening, get in touch.
Yeah, actually, I've got a quick story on that where we posted the job description, and working with our marketing team, JJ, we said, look, let's just build a video where we would advertise the job. And we had an amazing response.
Right, okay.
One person in particular who came to us, so it went from a push marketing to pull marketing, exceptional candidate, and we're in discussions with them at the moment. So really exciting. But saying that, we haven't filled it. So if you're interested,
get your application in.
So
you want to double revenue next year?
Double revenue next year. Continue pushing with the embedded model. Would love to expand further into Europe and the US. I've gone in as global option. We're working with a lot of clients in the UK, Germany and US at the moment, but I really want to push that further. But on a further level, we launched Chapter 2 in the US next week. Leo's building, and we're selling the book, which is a contingent workforce for temporary workers platform, which is really, really interesting. I'm speaking to a client at the moment. They've got 200 to 300 freelancers in the health sector. So that could be a good solution for them. So the US, the book, Chapter 2 Health Talent. We've got a new MD in Germany who's been there for 6 months. So we want to expand on that. And talent advisory.
Right, okay.
It's a lot going on. And something I've learned from Leo in terms of the profits or EBITDA is getting put back into the business, and Steven's a great advocate for that as well.
One of the things that I'm always interested to hear is, what's your sense of the market? Is it, and it's hard to often, be really sure, because it is often only what you see. But given that what you see over the last 2 and the last 18 years, Is things improving? Do you see demand picking up? Is headcount growth back on the agenda for these healthcare leaders? What's the vibe that you're getting out there?
I think the vibe for me is pinpointing those particular clients that are going through growth. And that is covering a lot of ground. I'm meeting with a lot of clients, and some of them are saying, look, I've just got no requirements. And that comes with it. But for me, I feel like it is going up. And I don't know if that's because I'm approaching previous clients with a different model, but also where we've got more to offer. So previous companies was just UK, but a lot of the organizations I worked with did have presence in Europe and US. So great, like Chapter 2 in 26 countries, we can emulate our service for those areas. So for me, it is within health, there's some particular interesting, exciting growth areas that we are doubling down on in terms of communication, building talent pools for talent partners in that area, which are going to guide us through. Some of those areas, as an example, ADHD and autism assessments.
Okay.
That's huge because I would say 10, 15 years ago, that wasn't even a thing being diagnosed. And a lot of adults are being diagnosed now, and then they want to find the same outcomes for their children. So there's a lot of organizations that are looking for psychiatrists, neurologists to do assessments, which is a really interesting space.
Yeah. I would imagine that AI is just transforming healthcare. Of all of the spaces, you can see it making a radical impact. Yeah. Somebody was telling me the other day that, when you take a brain scan or an X-ray and you put it up on the screen and the doctors are looking at it, that the ability for AI to just transform the outcomes there is just radical. And I'm sure that's an incredibly uneducated view on AI in healthcare, but you get the idea. Yeah. You must have seen some mad stuff.
Yeah, amazing. I met with so in the UK, there's 7 unicorn businesses in health. I've met with 5. And I met with a founder last week. The tech that he showed me was incredible. And I actually think for us, yes, you've got exec, you've got tech, business functions and clinical tech in the health sector. Health tech is like a really interesting space because there's a lot of businesses doing similar stuff. I'm meeting clients and I'm actually doing introductions to each other because actually they could go further quickly. Yeah. But no, you did a great breakdown, and health AI is one of our growth areas. And the conversations that we're having, especially in America, is like Series C to Series D organizations, which we can definitely add value because they need to get there quickly.
It's mad, isn't it? Because when the numbers are just on another level. But I remember some guy going, "We just raised a Series F. We've raised 9 billion at an 85 billion valuation." And you just think, like, who's just got 9 billion in cash just lying around? I know, we'll put 9 billion in. But obviously, when the size of the market is in the tens of trillions of dollars, then the opportunity is ridiculous. And if you think about the NHS budget and what this government spends on healthcare per annum, you can just see how if we could become more efficient using AI and technology, the companies that are solving those problems, they're going to win big.
They already are. I totally agree. It's and ultimately for me, I have a lot of love for the health sector because, as an example, life expectancy at the moment is 72 years. 50 years it was 60, and the next 50 years it's going to be 90. So we really need to help these clients get to where they need to be because ultimately it's going to have a knock-on effect to us and the future. Yeah,
you're investing in your own future, mate.
We are.
Exactly, exactly. More placements equals, we're knocking around longer. We'll be back doing this when we're 70, mate.
Yeah, let's do it if you have me.
I look forward to that, mate. That's a great way to end. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been wonderful to hear your story. And I wish you every success for the future. And hopefully you'll come on again this time next year and tell me how that you've not just doubled, you've trebled it.
Love that.
We'll be on for more.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.